Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm having a pretty good day so far. I'm a little tired. I don't know if my neighbor's got a new dog or what's up with it, but there's a couple of them at least um to the south of me or somewhere over in there that they start barking before the sun's even up, which I don't mind. I mean, getting up, I just don't want to be woke up every day. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know if they, like I say, got something new, or maybe they're watching they have older kids, adult children. Maybe they're doggy sitting somebody something, because I don't know. I haven't heard the voice of the dog before. It sounds like a bigger one than they've got some little ones that aren't too bad. But I don't know. But yeah, I felt sorry for the dog yesterday. These dogs in particular were like barking all day. Doug said he could even hear them over he was grinding metal. And when he was on his tractor, he could hear these things. I said, yeah. Um, he wondered what was wrong with me when I got up. Well, two things. That it was like the third day now, maybe more, that these animals have been like distressed, not the biggest deal, but anyway. But yesterday, this is what's freaking me out. I got up, I didn't even tell Doug about it last night. I had hard boiled some eggs to go on a salad, so I made two of them each for us. He gets these eggs from the Amish, and some other ones were from a local person. So I took like used up the Amish ones and used another one, and it was little pullet eggs is what the Amish ones were, because their older hens weren't laying right now. When it starts getting kind of cold or the sunlight lessens, your hens will start molting. You see like pictures of they people think it's abused hens. It's not abused hens. It's a natural thing they do 2 times a year. It's called molting. They do it to use the feathers for their nest for their babies. So they'll do it typically in the spring and in the fall. So, okay, back to these pullet eggs. So when your hens first start laying, you get tiny, smaller eggs because they're um, baby mama chickens, brand new laying hens. So they'll have these smaller eggs till they start developing bigger ones. So, okay, I'll get to the point. I'm getting there. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? So, oh, okay, just a minute. And I worked at a poultry farm, and I've had my own chickens. Um, I've candled eggs. I've seen whether they were fertile in there or not, whether, the rooster had inseminated that yolk so it would turn into a chick, which is kind of typical when you live on a farm. If you have a rooster and you have hens, all your eggs are probably going to be fertile. But the weird thing about this is I do not know how old of an egg this was, but usually Doug will get them like they have a produce stand, the Amish do, and um, and or eggs in this cooler. So you put your money in the box. I'm still getting there. I'm getting there. So, so last night I made a salad. I had the night before made a creamy Italian pasta salad with some red peppers and um onion and stuff and some matzo cheese in there. And so, just like a side dish to go along with the steak I had made. But last night I thought, well, I'm just going to cut up some extra lettuce and put some of that pasta salad I have on there, a little bit of cottage cheese, and a couple hard boiled eggs. And then it's like a chef salad. It's like a perfect supper. So I ate some of the macaroni and I had rotoni, I think it's called, macaronis. The round hollow ones with lines in it, you know them little. So Eh, yeah, I'm getting there. And I took a bite of the lettuce, so I'm really enjoying this. I ate about a half of an egg and a couple bites, and I went to bite into another one. I had it on my fork, and I usually cut things up, but I was tired. I just wanted to get some food in me. I bit into this thing and I heard a crunch. I peeled the eggs you know. So there weren't any shells on there. I know that for a fact. So, I mean, okay, here goes. It was pretty bad. So bear with me. If you're not into rather gross things, you probably want to turn this off right now because this is something I have never encountered in my whole life. I bit into, I don't know if it was a beak or a bone or a pin feather or what it was. It was something about this long and just, a smidgen wide, like maybe a baby chicken bone or a developing feather or a beak. I don't know what it was. So there was a chicken inside the egg developing in the yolk. Something, some part of a baby chick. Needless to say, did spit it out and I ate some of the lettuce and the rest of it I just took and scooped it into the garbage and I was done. I mean, I ate my lettuce, but I tried to stay away from where that egg was. I scooped them all together. There was like one and a half left. I wasn't eating any more of it. And I told Doug, I just want some eggs from Walmart. Or we have a local company that supplies to Walmart from Finlayson, Minnesota, and not far away. And if you're native around here, you know the company. It's called Pease, Peasc, Pease Egg Company. I just want some fake eggs. Even when I raised my own, I wouldn't eat them. I couldn't handle it. I had some huge chickens when I was younger, like a kid, and I would have eggs like that big, and they'd have triple and quadruple yolks in there. My parents and everybody, they loved them things. I'd give them to the neighbors. They're just huge, huge eggs out of these huge chickens. And the last chicken I had was Rhode Island Red. She um she just walked in the yard one day and but she laid enough eggs where for Doug, and I wouldn't eat them anyway. But I always fed these animals. I'd take care of them. You have to sulfur powder them. You get up when you have any kind of livestock. Usually you might have a little breakfast, but you're usually out in the cold or hot before you even really take care of yourself. You take care of your animals and then you take time for yourself. So if you're like swig down a cup of coffee, use the bathroom, you're out taking care of your animals, typically. Um, that's the way I do things. But I don't know. Anyway, cheers everybody. But what a gross experience. My point is, I'm happily 66. Also, my point is, I've never encountered that, and I love hard boiled eggs. But like I say, I don't like them off the farm. They they either taste like a lot of the chickens are free range and they'll eat bugs, and yeah, they do a great job, but I just prefer chickens that don't taste that strong, like the yolks aren't like orange, they're yellow, so I don't know. Everybody's different. Some people like farm raised eggs, and I'm not one of them. Oddly enough, like I say, I raised my own. I worked at a poultry ranch, but you know, and two, it does have a lot to do with how you raise your chickens. And used to be, well, now they have chicken feed where it's got what they call oyster shell in there, ground up oyster shells because of the calcium that it gives to the egg, the outside, the shell. It will make the shells stronger. So you can tell, we used to be able to tell back in the day if people were taking care of their chickens because of how much oyster shell they would put in the shells. And you could tell when you cracked an egg who cared about their chickens and other people, and if they were selling eggs. And by that, just by cracking an egg, you can tell whether or not they actually buy feed for their chickens, or if they're just getting, like, maybe picking through the pig dung or cow manure or whatever that is real. Like this one place, Doug got some eggs. He said they've got animals all over the place. Well, that doesn't really mean anything to me, except that those chickens are, and pigs, they'll eat each other. If you throw chicken bones out to chickens, they'll eat it. You don't want to do that, but, a lot of people just throw their scraps um, in a can and it goes to the chickens. Ethical people won't put same species of feed in that food, but you know I've heard of, well, know of farmers that go and get kitties and puppies for pig feed, you know that type of thing. If people have like a litter of puppies that are free or all that, these things are real in life. It's gross, but it's real, you know? So, anyway. So, I'm having a good day, but it's a rather strange one, honestly. And I know I'm going to be super leery on the next egg I encounter. Maybe I have to candle them before I go and even cook them. So you hold it over a candle and you can see whether or not um, there's a developing embryo in there. If it's starting to, if it's been fertilized, there'll be that little, there's a membrane in between the egg yolk and the white. And the yolk is actually the chick that eats the white as it develops. And there's a little tiny membrane that's around the whole thing, and you can tell if that membrane kind of develops like a white droplet type of thing in between the yolk and the white, and you can tell whether or not the eggs are fertile or if they've been fertilized. So, anyway, weird, 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 weird experience. Crunch, crunch. There's not supposed to be any crunch in a hard-boiled egg. Not even close. I don't even want to hear about it. No, I didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it. That's the song. I was on a live stream and I shared, see, to me it was a joke. Um, I, my adopted mother sang this song at me. It's from the 1940s. It's called You Made Me Love You. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. You know, I had shared it on a live stream one time, and I knew there was some, 30, 40, and 50-year-old men that thought I was sharing it for other reasons why I did, but I actually was sharing it for the reason of why um, I said that my mom used to sing it at me. That type of feeling. But they missed the joke because they didn't know the joke. And if they had listened to the song, I didn't want to do it. Um, if they listened to the whole song, they'd be knowing what I was all about anyway. But they didn't. They didn't want to do it. So, no, anyway. There was this one time a couple of years ago. I lost like 300 or 3 to 400 subs all in one whack just by insulting somebody's brother, you know. Oh, you showed your true colors. No, I was pointing out his, but thanks anyway. And what the thing was, too, yeah, I got insulting. I did, admittedly so. If somebody's gonna pretend to be a preacher of any sort and then sit there and scream like he's hellfire and damnation and not even listen to a word that anybody else has got to say within that whole thing. Well, the thing is, there was a certain agenda, and there was a mod on this channel too, and they were on the phone together. So when I was trying to intercede, and there was like 13 people watching this live, and my point was obviously seen and ignored, and these are people that knew me quite well, um, through a brother of this creep. And I wouldn't even gone to look at this creep's channel if it hadn't have been for the brother. But anyway, I ended up making everybody mad at me because they were stuck in their own little um, infantile viewpoint on what their thoughts about the scriptures were so mainstream, so Zionistic or Judaism or so agenda driven, you know. I couldn't even talk to these people, so I decided to insult them, and it worked. It did. But then I made it worse. I started like talking about the size of people's butts because they were postal and stuff like that. Postal workers and whatever. I don't care. I really don't. Move it or lose it. Not my problem. But when, especially women are mean to me because of their own insecurities, I'm likely to say or do something. It's not like if you think you're all that, or if I'm in a different demographic than you or your age or whatever, and like I just don't fit the bill or whatever. You know, I get it. Carry on. I was going somewhere with that, but you know, it's like, oh, anyway. Yeah, I think there is a point to be made there. Just a minute. I'll think about it. Oh, yeah, it really had nothing to do with my age anyway, but I have encountered um prejudices in that area. You know, it's like, this is true. Think what you will. when I was younger, I had especially females treat me dirty because of their own insecurities. I thought that part would get easier when I got older. In some ways, it has, because they can always use my age to look down on me in that respect or the lack of respect, but not actually knowing that I have a certain amount of love for everybody in the world, no matter what, you know. But just their display of not having that nature for every generation is what I have a hard time understanding out of anybody, because I've always been the same towards everybody like that. So, yeah, anyway, yeah. If I could go back and do that again, I'd do it worse. I know I would too. Yeah. In fact, um, see, I was actually set up, but if I had known that, I would have been way better at what I did. Shit. I probably wouldn't have had no subscribers left by the time I got done. So, some of you have stuck through me. Or stuck through me, yeah. Stuck with me through that. So, you've seen it. Or you've had it happen to you and you know what that's like. Yeah. Just like, oh, see, now this is the type of preacher I know, like Robin's Hood channel can really relate to this. We were on a live stream. Doug and I were on a live stream, and there's this guy. His name's Tim Daly, but he calls himself Matthew Daly or some kind of watchman thing here on YouTube. He was um, saying he was Christian, practicing Judaism. I still don't get it, but each to their own and whatever, you know. But it, that's part of the problem with so-called scholars that don't look at different entries within things, but only one agenda-driven type of situation. But this kid in particular, he's like, he was screaming mad one time. He's like, he was mad at Robin. He's like, you're going to hell, or we're all going to hell, or something. He was just screaming it. And I'm thinking, going to hell? You mean we're all in hell? But that type of preacher, yeah, you're all going to hell. What? These people this is what's been on my mind today. People that are preaching hellfire, damnation, and almost wishing for destruction in the world, like the end of the world scenario. Do you know how many times that end of the world scenario has been played and pulled on people by the overlords? Hundreds and hundreds, thousands of times around the world with their fear tactics and actual murdering nature towards other cultures to control them. It's just, yeah, it's not just one religion, it's an actual group of people that are affiliated with other groups that they work together. That's something I gotta honestly say. It's the dark force on this planet. I'm not gonna say it works better than the spirit of God, because if we're talking about disembodied spirits, but we're not, we're talking about actual people that do things to other people, you know, but they want you to believe different. That's, see, that's like, there's certain things that are written that people are taking as gospel. Like, here's a for instance. I'll give you a couple for instances on this. Death is a natural thing. It happens to the human body. It happens to every biological life form on this planet. But yet, some conformed religion or religious leaders are, and it says so in the book, so it has to be true, that because of your sin, we decay and we die. It's not a natural thing of every biological entity on this planet. It's because you sinned. It's like women's gonna travail in birth because she sinned. It isn't that a cat or a dog or a horse or a cow or any female giving birth cries. No, it's because you sinned. You know? The shit that they want people to believe just to keep you submissed. You really like the idea that you or your forefathers, or, oh, get this, my mother did something, so I have to suffer for her sin. Yeah, that's a super loving God. But, oh, wait, here comes Jesus, little Jeezy Jesus. He's going to save you. You know why? Because he died for your sins. So the rest of you, shut up. Nobody did nothing to nobody. And God loves everybody. And then I heard these other clowns, God's chosen people. Wow. Just wow. You know, who's your daddy? My God loves everybody. I don't know who your daddy is, but it's not the same one I have. Just my thoughts on that, you know. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like I've told you, the same time. Imagine that. Not conjoined, not conjoined twins. It's like this. And there they were. Whoa. Not possible. A woman had to come out of a man that had breasts and a penis and a vagina. It has to all be mixed together in order for it to make any kind of sense. It couldn't happen that. Well, there they were. If you look at the Ark of the Covenant, go look at pictures of that. There's a female angel with breasts reaching out with her wings, you know, to the male one across from her. They look like twins, but they're not. They're two separate things, but one's a male and one's a female. What is it that they're reaching out to for each other? What's in that ark? What is an ark? It's the Akashic records. It's the energy in the ether. It's what you can draw upon from other people, whether they want to call themselves like archangels. If you were welding and it was like a heliarch, helium and air and gas mixed to make a spark. But within that arc, what that arc is, it's a thought, the thought that says, like, I think it is, isn't it Athena that comes out of Apollo's thoughts from the side of his head, it says, but that's not what it meant. The real translation means out of his thoughts. he didn't give birth to her out of his multi-gendered stuff. People are trying to um, explain physical creation with spiritual stuff, and the spiritual stuff makes the physical stuff. But and yeah, it's combined to a certain extent, like thinking something you want in your future and making plans and thoughts to make that come true in your future. That's if people want to call that manifesting, or they think they have to do any kind of rituals like that. You're either drawing from dark energy or the light, but one way or another, you're asking something of one of those archangels. And they do work together, but they may not be working together on your behalf. Because if you're denying one for the other, you're not treating the whole scenario like the forefathers, like the foremother, like the parents of the situation. And you're putting your trust in mankind. And that's just my thoughts on all that today. People will learn. I mean, I can't force nothing. I can't force reality. I mean, I can show you and share with you um, great philosophers that might have been even Masonically inclined through the ages, which in all reality, all religions are based on Saturnalia worship. Somebody asked the difference between uh, atheist. Did you know in ancient times that Christians were called atheists and pagans were the first Christians and they worshipped Bacchus and Aphrodite, I do believe. So that's where the originators, just like in Judaism, they've got Asherah and either Satan or whoever, God, their father, our father, whoever they want to call him. So I think that's about it for today. Um, anyway, the difference, atheist just doesn't just mean um, not believing in a God. It actually, it's just like, okay, no, I guess I'm done on this. Um a pagan is more closely related to Christianity and Christianity's rituals and Judaism and that type of thing, and the mindset and the vibration and keeping it on that lower note. I'm not talking about the commandments or a person's integrity. I'm talking about the other stuff that goes in there that's inserted by people that they want you to believe about yourself that just isn't necessary. It's not healthy for people, and I'm so sick of it anyway. So, and I do believe in God. I believe in the Spirit of God in people. I just don't believe the way the religions are using it and the way other people use it on people and at people with their end of the world scenarios. It's a never ending thing. It's so sickening. So, peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.